Hi friends, welcome back for another guided reading lesson with Mrs. Maldonado. So let's go ahead and get started with our story for today. We actually have a tale from Mexico, and the title of that tale is The Goat in the Garden. And if you see here, I have a picture of a goat and a vegetable garden, as well as some vegetables that we are going to be reading about today. So the title is The Goat in the Garden. And again, this is a tale from Mexico. Okay, and along with this tale, we have some vocabulary words that we're going to be reviewing. So the first vocabulary that we have here is nutritious. Nutritious is a food provides things our body needs. Okay, so cultivate will be our next one, and that is to grow and care for a plant or crop. So I'm going to go ahead and get started reading our tale from Mexico titled The Goat in the Garden. Have you ever picked vegetables from a garden? What did they look like? What did they taste like? There once lived two farmers named Paloma and Pablo. Behind their home, they had a wonderful garden where they grew many kinds of nutritious vegetables. Paloma and Pablo cultivated their garden with love and were very proud of it. One spring morning, when they went out to water and weed the garden, Paloma and Pablo saw a billy goat eating their chili peppers. Pablo waved his hands and shouted, "Para! Stop eating our peppers!" But the billy goat kept eating. Then Paloma tried to order the billy goat out of the garden, but the billy goat would not budge. The billy goat said, "Munch, munch, chilies for lunch. I'll keep eating. I'm not leaving." Then the billy goat started eating the corn. So if you see in this illustration here, we have Pablo and Paloma out in the garden, and we can see the billy goat eating the chili peppers. And on the side where Paloma is, we see some tomatoes and some corn. Okay, so that is their garden. Now, for our first question that we have down here in the blue, the first one reads, "What is the billy goat eating?" So if we take a close look at the illustration here, we observe that he is eating chili peppers. So what do Paloma and Pablo do? Well, we saw here in the text that Pablo shouted to him and told him to stop eating the peppers. And we know that Paloma also wanted him to stop eating the peppers, and we see her pointing at the goat. Okay, what does the billy goat do? Does he stop eating the peppers? No, he did not stop eating the peppers. He said, "Munch, munch, chilies for lunch. I'll keep eating. I'm not leaving." And then he started eating what, boys and girls? He started eating the corn. Okay, so we have our two vocabulary words, nutritious, and if we see that they have used it in the text here in the sentence, and I will underline the sentence that has that vocabulary word. It says, behind their home, they had a wonderful garden where they grew many kinds of nutritious vegetables. So those are nutritious are foods that provide things our bodies need. And our other vocabulary word is cultivate, which means to grow and care for a plant or crop. And right after that sentence that I underlined, boys and girls, we have the vocabulary word cultivate. But they added a D to it because it means past tense ending, that it already happened in the past. It says, Paloma and Pablo cultivated their garden with love and were very proud of it. We see that the vegetables are growing very nicely there. Okay, so our next page, we have, take a look at the illustration there because we see different things happening here. It says, "I know what to do," said Paloma. "Let's ask the rooster to help us." So they went to the rooster and said, "Oh, rooster, please help us get the billy goat out of our garden." He was eating our chili peppers and now he's munching our corn. our vegetables were plentiful, but soon we'll have none if that billy goat keeps eating. So the rooster went into the garden and tried to scare the billy goat off. He crowed loudly, cock-a-doodle-doo! But the billy goat lowered his horns and tossed the rooster out of the garden. He said, yummy, yummy, corn in my tummy. I'll keep eating. I'm not leaving. Then the billy goat began to eat the tomatoes. So he continues to eat their vegetables, boys and girls. So let's take a look at our vocabulary word for this page. And it is plentiful. And plentiful means when there is a lot of something. So I am going to underline the sentence where that vocabulary word plentiful is used. And I will read it to you. It says, our vegetables were plentiful, but soon we'll have none if that billy goat keeps eating. So that means that they had a lot of vegetables. But if the goat keeps eating, they're not going to have any more, right? So our first question for this page is, how does the rooster try to help? How did the rooster try to help? Well, it says that he crowed very loudly. But did that do anything to the goat, boys and girls? Did that make the goat stop doing what he was doing? It did not, right? It said the goat kept eating. And now he was eating something else. What was he eating? Okay, so it says, what does the billy goat do to the rooster? Okay, he just crowed very loudly, said, cock-a-doodle-doo. And it says, but the billy goat lowered his horns and tossed the rooster, is right here. He lowered the horns and tossed the rooster out of the garden. So that was a pretty mean goat, right? It was eating all of Paloma and Pablo's vegetables, and it tossed the rooster out of the garden. So let's see what's going to happen next in our story. I know what to do, said Pablo. Let's ask the pig to help us. So they went to the pig and said, oh, pig, please help us get the billy goat out of our garden. He was eating our chili peppers and corn, and now he's on to our tomatoes. What will become of our garden? He is a very stubborn goat, and he will not leave. So the pig went into the garden and squealed loudly at the billy goat to scare him off. But the billy goat was not scared of the pig. He lowered his horns and tossed the pig out of the garden. He said, sweet, sweet tomato treat. I'll keep eating. I'm not leaving. Then the billy goat began to eat the potatoes. Okay, boys and girls, so let's look at our vocabulary word that we are going to review, and that vocabulary word is stubborn. Stubborn is when someone is not willing to change his or her mind. What character was being stubborn? That's right, it was the goat. The goat was being very stubborn. He did not want to leave the garden. Okay, so let's read the first question. And the first question reads, how does the pig try to help? How does the pig try to help? Okay, it says that if we look right here, we know that Pablo said, let's ask the pig to help us. So they went to the pig, and the pig says, oh, pig, please help us get the billy goat out of the garden. Okay, so it says the pig went, I'll underline it for you. The pig went into the garden and squealed loudly at the billy goat to scare it off. But did he really scare him off? He did not. Look at what he's doing, boys and girls. He's flying up in the air because the goat tossed him out, just like he did with the other animal that we just read. Okay, so it did not do anything. Okay, so the next question, what does the billy goat do to the pig? So we just answered that question too, right? He tossed him out of the garden. Okay, so the last question, what vegetables has the billy goat been eating? Okay, so if we go to the text, boys and girls, into our story, because remember, when we are asking questions about the story, we have to go back into the text to get that answer. Okay, so I'm going to underline. It says he was eating our chili peppers. He was eating corn. And now he's eating tomatoes. But then at the end, it says that he also began to eat the potatoes. So all of those are foods that the billy goat has been eating from the vegetable garden. Okay, let's go on and see what happens next. Pablo and Paloma were wondering what to do when they heard a small voice. I can help you, said a little red ant. How can you help us? Said Paloma. You are just a tiny ant. Watch me, said the little red ant. She climbed up the billy goat's back leg and walked along his back. Then she crawled up the billy goat's neck and onto his ear. She bit the billy goat on his ear as hard as she could. Ouch! Said the billy goat, but he kept on eating the corn. So the little red ant bit him again and again. Ouch! Eek! I feel weak. I do believe it's time to leave, said the billy goat, and he ran out of the garden as fast as he could. Paloma and Pablo fixed up their garden and planted more seeds. With sun and water and time, the plants blossomed. Soon there were vegetables once again. And whenever the little red ant came for a visit, she was given all the food she could eat. So our vocabulary word is blossom. Okay, and blossom is when a plant grows and its flowers open. So the flower starts to open, it starts to blossom. Okay, so now let's answer our first question. It says, how does the little red ant get the billy goat to leave the garden? Well, remember that the little red ant was so tiny, but she kept on biting the goat. And the goat finally had enough because the little red ant kept biting him again and again. And look, I'm going to circle the little red ant in case you haven't found the little red ant on the goat's ear. And finally he says, I'm leaving. I'm out of here. So because of the little red ant, now the problem is solved. So what do Paloma and Pablo do for the little red ant? So it says whenever, and I'll underline our answer, whenever the little red ant came for a visit, she was given all the food she could eat. So that means that when she came to visit, she wasn't going to be hungry, right? She could eat all the food she wanted to. And also, boys and girls, the vocabulary word blossom, I am going to underline how it was used in the story. It says, with sun, water, and time, the plants blossomed. So that means that the plants needed all of that for them to finally open up and grow, right? All right, so that is the end of our story. So now we have our vocabulary meaning match, okay? And our vocabulary words are nutritious, cultivate, plentiful, stubborn, and blossom. So boys and girls, if you want to join me for this activity, go ahead and you can pause the video for a minute. Go ahead and get something to write with and something to write on, okay? And once you get that, then you're going to number it from 1 through 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. Okay, boys and girls, so I am going to help you read the definition, or you can read it along with me. And then we are going to match up our vocabulary words. We're only going to use the vocabulary word once, okay? So once we use it, I'm going to cross it off the word bank, and I am going to write it in the line where it fits in the definition. Okay, so let's read number 1. Food that provides things our bodies need. What do we call that food that provides things that our bodies need? Okay, so that would be nutritious. Okay, so we're going to write that for number 1. And like I said, you can write it in your piece of paper. All you have to do is write the numbers, boys and girls. You don't have to write the definition, okay? Because we're going to go ahead and move along quickly, because I know some of these words are a little bit long, so I don't want you to have to write the whole definition, okay? Because it's going to take a bit longer. All right, so for number 2, when a plant grows and its flowers open, what do we call that? When a plant grows and its flowers open. Very good. That word is blossom. So for number 2, let's write the word blossom. Okay, and it has 2 S's. There we go. All right, for number 3, someone not willing to change his or her mind. Someone not willing to change his or her mind. And in this case, boys and girls, in the story, who was the character that did not want to change his or her mind? It was the goat, right? So there was something that described the goat. The goat was what? Yes, the goat was stubborn. So let's write that word stubborn for number 3. S-T-U-B-B-O-R-N. Stubborn. All right, so now let's read number 4. Move on to number 4. When there is a lot of something, and Pablo and Paloma had a lot of vegetables in the garden, and they said that they were what? They used a word to describe there being a lot of something. What was that word? That's right. That word is plentiful. Okay, so I am going to underline it. That's the word plentiful. So we are going to put that word in the line for number 4. It is spelled P-L-E-N-T-I-F-U-L. Plentiful for number 4. All right, so let's read number 5. To grow or care for a plant or crop. To grow or care for a plant or crop. Okay, and this is something that Paloma and Pablo were doing in their vegetable garden. Okay, and that is our last word, and that is cultivate. Cultivate. Okay, that's when you grow or care for a plant or crop. And in this case, in our story, it was a vegetable garden. Do you remember all the vegetables they were growing, boys and girls? Remember they had tomatoes, they had potatoes, they had corn and chili peppers. Okay, so those were some things that they were cultivating in their garden. All right, so now that we've reviewed our vocabulary words and their meanings, now it's time for us to use them in a sentence. Okay, so it's the same vocabulary words. Now we are going to use them in a sentence, okay? So you can do the same thing, boys and girls. If you want to join me for this activity, go ahead and write in your piece of paper 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, and all you'll have to do is write the vocabulary word. Okay, so for number one, have you seen an apple tree what? Have you seen an apple tree what? When an apple tree has to grow the flowers and then they start to what? Very good. That word would be blossom. Blossom. because usually before anything starts to grow, boys and girls, it's usually a flower, then it turns into the fruit or vegetable that it's going to grow into. Okay, so for number 2, Armando was blank and would not wear his raincoat. In this case, boys and girls, Armando's kind of being the same like the goat. He's being what? What was that word that described the goat in our story? That's right, he was being stubborn. He did not want to wear his raincoat. Okay, so for number 2, let's write the word stubborn. There we go. Okay, for number 3, what plants would you like to blank in a garden? Okay, so this is something that Pablo and Paloma did in their garden. What did they do? What is that word when they care for a garden or care for a crop? Okay, that's right. That is cultivate. Cultivate. Okay, so we write the vocabulary word cultivate for number 3. Okay, and number 4. Teresa eats a blank breakfast of cereal and milk each morning. So we have 2 vocabulary words that are left, nutritious and plentiful. Teresa eats a blank breakfast of cereal and milk each morning. Okay, yes, it's nutritious. Nutritious is when foods that give our body what it needs, right? So let's write that word there. It's a big fancy word, nutritious. Okay, and we also want to make sure that we're eating nutritious foods, right, boys and girls, to keep our bodies healthy. All right, so for number 5, food was blank at the picnic. So if there's a lot of something, in this case, a lot of food at the picnic, it is what? And in our story, boys and girls, the vegetables were what? That's right, it's plentiful. So let's write plentiful for number 5. Okay, so there are our sentence with our vocabulary words. So let's read them with the vocabulary words in them. Number 1, have you seen an apple tree blossom? Number 2, Armando was stubborn and would not wear his raincoat. Number 3, what plants would you like to cultivate in a garden? Number 4, Teresa eats a nutritious breakfast of cereal and milk each morning. Number 5, food was plentiful at the picnic. All right, boys and girls, let's move on. Now we have our vocabulary questions. And with this, I am going to help you read the questions, boys and girls, but you can go back and take your time and think about your sentences or your answers. Okay, I just want to remind you that when you write your sentences, boys and girls, remember to start with an uppercase letter. Also, remember to use finger spaces in between your words so it does not look like one big long word, okay? And if we are answering a question at the end, we are going to use a period at the end of the sentence. Okay, so for number 1, our question reads, what do we have that is plentiful in our classroom? And I've inserted a picture of a classroom. What do you see that is plentiful in that classroom? That picture will hopefully give you some ideas to help you answer that question. Okay, number 2. What nutritious food do you like to eat? Okay, so I've also added a picture of some nutritious food, and see if you can find some foods that you like from here, boys and girls, and you can write about those foods. Okay, for number 3, what would you need to cultivate a garden? So this is a picture of a garden. So what do you think you would need to cultivate a garden? Okay, so like I said, you can pause the video or you can come back to answer those questions. So now we're moving right along. Kiss your brains, boys and girls. You've done such an amazing job with that story and learning those vocabulary words and answering those questions. Now we're going to move right along. And now we're going to get to sharpen our saw and have some more fun with our sight word Scrabble. Okay, so in this case, boys and girls, you are going to help me figure out some sight words that the letters are all mixed up together. Okay, we have 4 letters to put together to make a sight word. We will use the 2 bottom rows to help us figure out the mixed up letters that make up the sight words on the top 2 rows. Let's have some fun. Let's have some sight word fun. Are you ready? All right, let's get started. So what we're going to do, boys and girls, is we're going to go and we're going to look for a red sight word down here that has all of these letters, okay? So I am looking for a sight word that has a W-O-N-D. Okay, this does not have a W. This does not have a W. This one has a W but does not have an O. No W here. There's not a W there or there. There is a W here, but it does not have an O. No W here. I do see a W. I also see an O. I also see an N and a D, so I am going to circle this word. And I am going to write that word underneath as I am crossing off all the letters that I am using. Okay, so the first letter that I am going to write is a D. I'm going to cross it out. O, cross it out. A W, cross it out. And finally an N, and I'm going to cross it out. So that sight word, boys and girls, is down. Down. Now I am going to look for another sight word that has the letters on the next group of letters. Okay? N-I-K-P. No N here. No N here. No N there, nor there. This has an N. It also has an I. It also has a K and a P. So I believe it could be this one. I am going to circle it. I am only going to use one sight word at a time, okay? So if I've circled it, that means I am not going to use it again. All right, so I have a P, cross it out. I, cross it out. N, cross it out. And then a K. And that sight word is pink. Okay, next we have K-E-L-I. No K's here, nor there. There's no K's here. There's a K here, but there's not an E. There's no K's here. No K's here. I found a K here, also an E, a L, and an I. So it could possibly be that one. So I am going to circle it. Then I am going to write the word right underneath it. L, I, K, and finally we have the E. So that side word is like, like. Next we have O-L-O-K. So there's no L's here. There's an L here, but I do not see an O. No L here. There's a L-O-L-O-K. So this sight word has all of the letters that I am looking for. So I am going to write the letter L, O, it has 2 O's, and then finally a K. And that sight word is look. Okay, our next group of letters, H-T-Y-E. There's an H here, there's a T, there's a Y, and there's an E. We got it on our first try, boys and girls. All right, so let's write it underneath that group of letters. It's a T, cross it out. H, cross it out. E, cross it out. And finally, we have a Y. Cross that out as well. So that sight word is they. They. Okay, so underneath we have another row of group of letters that are mixed up. Okay, and our first one has a I-D-A-S. Okay, no I here. There's an I here, but I do not see a D. I see an I here, but no D. There's an I here, no D. So it must be this very last one because I do see a D there. Okay, so our first letter is an S. I'm going to cross it out. Then I have an A, cross that out. I, cross it out. And finally, I have a D, and I am going to cross that out as well. So that sight word is said, said. Okay, our next group of letters, L-I-W-L, L-I-W-L. Okay, I do not see an L here. There's an L here, but there is no I. There's an L here, no W. There's a L-I-W-L here, so it must be that one. Okay, so my first letter is a W, cross it out. I, cross it out. And then we have our two L's, and that sight word is will, will. Okay, our next group of letters, R-G-L-I. Okay, so we have this one. There's no R there. And in this one, there's no R. We do have an R, a G, L, and an I in this one. So I am going to circle it. Then I am going to write the side word underneath to see if I use all of those letters. G, cross it out. I, cross it out. R, cross it out. L, cross it out. And that sight word, boys and girls, is girl, girl. Okay, next group of letters, H-W-I-T. Okay, I see an H here. I see a W, I see an I, and I see a T. On our first try again, boys and girls. So I am going to write it underneath. W, cross it out. I, then I have my T, and finally my H. And that sight word is with. Okay, so the last one, I have a Y-P-L-A. So this is the only one. It should be this one. First, I have a P, L, A, and then a Y. That sight word is play. Okay, so now I'm going to need for you to help me read these sight words. Okay, I'm gonna read the sight words that are circled in the bottom, the red sight words, and I'm gonna put a check mark on them, and we're gonna read them together. Okay, we're gonna start with the top row first. They, with, pink, will, down, play, look, girl, like, said. Good job, boys and girls. So that is our sight word Scrabble. All right, so now it's math time. Okay, so we're going to move right along to math. And let's see what we have for math today. So our first question reads, what is the difference? And when we see this word, boys and girls, difference, that gives us a clue that we are going to be subtracting. We are going to be taking away. But if you see, I also on the screen, I have a hundreds chart. So we are going to be using the hundreds chart to help us figure out our answer. Okay, so we will be using the hundreds chart to see what's another strategy that we can use to answer 72, take away 10. Okay, so we are going to look for the difference. Okay, so difference means what is different between 72 and 10. So the first thing we're going to do is we have to look for the number 72 in the hundreds chart. Okay, so I am going to circle it for you. Okay, so that is 72. So when we look for the 72 in the hundreds chart, we already know where it is because it's circled. Now, something that I am going to tell you is that if we are going up, okay, the numbers are going to be smaller. If we go down, the numbers are going to be bigger. Okay? So that means what I've taught my boys and girls that I am going to have, it's going to be a minus sign or a takeaway sign that is going to go up. If it is a plus sign, it is going to go down. Okay? So this one we see has a takeaway, a minus sign. So that means that we are going to be going up. We're going to be going up by 10. Okay, so every time, boys and girls, every row, we are counting by 10. You see right here at the end, it's counting by 10s. Let's count by 10s. 10, 20, 30, 40, 50, 60, 70, 80, 90, and a 100. Okay, so every time we move up a row, that means we're either adding or taking away 10. Okay, so this case, we're taking 10 away, so that means that our answer is going to be right here. Okay, so 72 take away 10 is 62. Okay, 72 take away 10 is 62. Remember, if we're subtracting, we're going to go up because the numbers are getting smaller. They're getting lower, less. Okay, what is the difference? Now we have 31, so we are going to look for the 31 in the hundreds chart. Okay, so we are looking for 31, 10, 20, 30, and we have the 31 right here. Okay, like I said, we're taking away 10. Each row is 10. Let's practice counting by 10s again. 10, 20, 30, 40, 50, 60, 70, 80, 90, and 100. Okay, so 31, take away 10. So if we're taking away, that means that the numbers are going to get smaller. Remember, if the numbers are getting smaller, we're going to go up. If they get bigger, we're going to go down. So that means that we are going up. Okay? And we're going up by 10. So that means it's going to be just 1. Okay? We're just going to go 1 row up. So our answer here will be 21. Okay? So 31 take away 10 is 31. It's just 1 row above when we are using the hundreds chart to figure out our answer. Okay, what is the difference? 84 take away 10. And again, boys and girls, difference means we are taking away. All right, so let's count by 10s before we solve our problem. 10, 20, 30, 40, 50, 60, 70, 80, 90, 100. Okay, so just a little practice counting by 10s. All right, so excuse me, we're going to look for the number 84 in our hundreds chart, and I've found it. I am going to circle it here. Also, boys and girls, if you know where to find all the numbers that we just did, where I put the check marks counting by 10, that will also show you where your numbers will be in the hundreds chart. So we have an 80 here. Okay, so I know it's going to be in the next row because we're going to start counting by 80s. 81, 82, 83, 84, and that's how we can find it. So it's a good way for you to know where all of those numbers are. Okay, so remember, if we are taking away, the numbers are going to get smaller. And in the hundreds chart, if you want the numbers to get smaller, you are going to go up. Okay, so how many are we going to go up? We're going to go up 10. And when we counted by 10s, every row we found out is 10. So we're just going to go up 1 row. Okay, and we're going to easily find our answer. And our answer is 74. So 84 take away 10 is 74. All right, now let's go to the next one. What is the difference? Okay, remember, first we're going to practice counting by tens. So please count with me or help me count. 10, 20, 30, 40, 50, 60, 70, 80, 90, and 100. So if I'm going to look for the 67, I know I have the 60 right here, so it's going to be on the next row, and I found it. It is right here. Okay, so I found the number 67. And remember, if I'm taking away, so that means our numbers are going to get smaller. So if the numbers are getting smaller, that means I am going to go up. Okay, so in the minus sign, I just put an arrow to remind me that I'm going to go up. Okay, if I am going to take away, if I have a minus sign. Okay, so I am going to go up just 10. And remember, each row equals 10. So that means I'm only going to go up one row. No more than one row, just one. Okay, and that's going to give us our answer. So right here, I'm going to box in our answer. And our answer is 57. So 67 take away 10 is 57. All right, let's go to the next problem. What is the difference? And now we have 54 take away 10. So help me count by tens. 10, 20, 30, 40, 50, 60, 70, 80, 90, 100. Okay, so I know that my 50 is here. So I know that my 54 is going to be in the next row. And I found it. I will circle it. Remember, if it's a minus, that means that the numbers are going to get smaller. And I am going to put my arrow here, helping me to remind me that I know that my numbers, if I go up, my numbers are going to get smaller. Okay, so and when we counted by tens, boys and girls, each row equals 10. So that means I'm only going to go up one row, because I'm only taking away 10. So right above the 54 is going to give me my answer, and that answer is 44. So 54 take away 10 equals 44. All right, let's move right along to our next problem. What is the difference? 98 take away 10 equals what? Okay, help me count by tens again. 10, 20, 30, 40, 50, 60, 70, 80, 90, 100. So now I know the 90s here. Okay, so that means that the 98 has to be on the next row, because remember, after 90, we start counting 91, 92, 93, 94, 95, 96, 97, and then I know 98 is going to be right here. Okay, so I am going to use my arrow. Remember, I taught you the little trick that if you see a minus sign, put the little arrow to go up. Now I'm only going to go up one. Remember, when we counted by tens, each row is 10. So I'm only going to go up one. So right above the 98 is going to be my answer. So my answer is 98 take away 10 equals 88. There we go. All right, let's go to our next problem. What is the difference? 35 take away 10. Help me count by tens, boys and girls. 10, 20, 30, 40, 50, 60, 70, 80, 90, and we have a 100. Okay, so I see my 30 here. So I know that after the 30, I'm going to start counting on the next row. 31, 32, 33, 34, and I found my 35. Now, I am going to use the minus sign to help me remember that the numbers go up. I have to go up because the numbers are getting smaller. When we counted by tens, I know each row is equal to 10. So that means I'm only taking 10 away. So that means I'm only going to go up one row to find my answer. And I am boxing in my answer now. Right above the 35, we see a 25. So 35 take away 10 equals 25. And that is my answer. That is the difference. 35 take away 10 equals 25. What is the difference? 86 take away 10 equals what? All right, boys and girls, help me count by tens. 10, 20, 30, 40, 50, 60, 70, 80, 90, 100. My number's 86, so I see the 80 right here. And then I have 81, 82, 83, 84, 85. I know my 86 is right there. Remember, I have my minus sign. I'm going to put the arrow to go up to give me a clue as which direction I'm going to go. And that means I am taking away 10. We learned that each row when we counted by 10 is 10. So I'm only taking away 10. That means I'm only going to go up one row. So right above the 86, I will have my answer. And my answer is what? 76. Okay, so what is the difference? 86 take away 10 is 76. So my answer is 76. All right, boys and girls, what is the difference? I am going to look for the 43. Okay. And then remember, only 10. Remember, each row is 10. 10, 20, 30, 40, 50, 60, 70, 80, 90, 100. Remember, as we are going down, the numbers are getting bigger. But in this case, our arrow going up is going to give us a clue telling us that we need to go up. We are taking away. The numbers are going to get smaller. We're going to go up only one row, and our answer will be right on top of the number that we circled in our hundreds chart, and that is going to be 33. So 43 take away 10 is 33. All right, now boys and girls, I am going to show you how to log in so you can also have your turn to do your work on MobyMax. You will have to go to the website www.mobymax.com. You are going to go on there. Step number 1, okay? You are going to go on there. Once you go into mobymax.com, you're going to see that that's right next to step 1, and you are going to click on this orange sign in box, okay? Go ahead and click on that. Then we are going to go to step number 2. For step number 2, you are going to make sure that you are logging in as a student, because if you do not have as a student, then it's not going to work for you. Okay, so log in as a student, and then once you do that, right underneath that, we're going to go to step 3, which is right here where I just circled, but now it's here. It's the same thing. It's just underneath. You are going to type in Guadalupe Center, but make sure that you leave a finger space between Guadalupe and center. Okay, if you would like, you can pause your device so you can copy Guadalupe and center in a piece of paper so you have it so you can write it, or you can ask an adult to help you spell it. Okay, once you type that in, and don't forget your finger space between Guadalupe and center, then you are going to click on this find box, green box there. Okay, then so once you click on that, you're going to see that Guadalupe Center is going to come up for school. Okay, once that comes up, click on that. Okay, then we're going to go to step number 4. Again, make sure you are in as a student, and you are going to check that for your school, it says Guadalupe Center. Because if you did not type in Guadalupe Center correctly or whatever, something might have happened, you're going to get another name for a different school, and it will not allow you to log in. So make sure it says Guadalupe Center for School. Okay, it's going to look just like that, like I have for step number 4. Guadalupe Center. Then right here for your username, you are going to type in your lunch number. It's actually going to be for your username and also, boys and girls, for your password. Okay, so your lunch number, student number is the same thing. Lunch number, student number. Go ahead and type that in for your username, and then you're going to click on this green sign in box. Okay, click on that. Okay, then we are going to move right along to step number 5. Okay, you will see a little icon here with some books. Click on that. If you don't see it, click on it. Okay, if you don't see the what you see on step 6, click on the books. Okay, once you are there, okay, let's go to step number 6, which is our last step. Okay, you are going to click on the math, this green math box. Okay, once you go on there, then you're going to see the lessons that you have been assigned. Okay, keep in mind, boys and girls, that the lessons that we have been reviewing might be a little different than the lessons that you have on your Moby Max for your course that you're doing. Because remember, when you took your placement test, it gave you different lessons on what you need to work on. So you might have done the lesson that I just reviewed, or you will be doing it soon. So either way, it could be a review or it could be a new lesson for you to learn. All right, boys and girls. So other than that, my lessons have been complete for today. So I hope you've enjoyed it, and I will have a new story for you for next time. Have a great day, boys and girls.